Hi, this is Margo. This is Sunday, late afternoon, March the 8th, 2020. And today we're going to look at methane from CAMS from today, the 8th, and the NOAA data from yesterday, the 7th, and do the weekly update on NOAA, and look a little bit at sulfur dioxide and earthquakes, and do our Bible reading. So I hope everyone is doing as well as possible, and that you remember to turn your clocks forward, and that you prepared for whatever is coming, and that you were prepared as you were guided, and that you're right with God and Jesus, because we're heading into some very, very, very dark times. So we're going to start out with Climate Reanalyzer from today, and this is the 2-meter temperature anomaly map, and we see that it's gone way down in the Arctic. There's just a little bit of red here and a little bit of brown, but a lot of the Arctic is in the blue and in the purples. And look at Canada, it's got a lot of blue and purple. So worldwide it's up 0.4 degrees C for warmer than normal, and so that's gone way down from what it was like a week or two ago, where it got up to 0.9 C higher than normal. The northern hemisphere is up 0.6 C. The Arctic is down 1.3 C. The tropics are up 0.6 C. The southern hemisphere is up 0.2 C. And the Antarctic is right at 0 for increase or decrease. It's where it's supposed to be, they say. Here's the flat view. So we can see most of Russia and Siberia are in the blue up here. And then it gets into the brown down here, and coming on down red down into the Middle Eastern countries. And we've got some red here in the United States. Now the NOAA data from yesterday, the 7th, the Met-Op-1 satellite for the morning, and this is for the 477/469 millibar reading. The Met-Op-1 mean for the morning for Saturday was 1884 parts per billion. The highest reading was 2392. The Met-Op-1 in the afternoon, the mean was 1885, and the highest reading was 2419. The Met-Op-2 satellite in the morning the mean was 1878, and the highest reading was 2331, and you can see that pink color through all these different areas. And in the afternoon, the mean was 1872, and the highest reading was 2408 parts per billion. So here's our spreadsheet and our chart, and we've added this week's data. Now last week was here, 1876.5, right here, and it's gone up. So today the mean is 1879.75, where I added up those four numbers and divided them by 4. And so that's an increase of 3.25 parts per billion this week. So it's been going steadily up on a weekly basis since February the 8th. Now what I did down here, just as notes, the increase for our first year, oh, let me fix this. That's supposed to be a 2 there. For the first year, from March the 1st, 2019 to February 29th, 2020, was 19.25 parts per billion. And then we went up another 3.25 this week. So since March the 1st, it's gone up 22.5 parts per billion. And we can also see at 1879, we're already at levels where that we didn't reach until August of last year. 1879 was August the 10th, we were 1880.25. So we're increasing methane so fast that if we don't get any serious valleys, it's going to be awful. We're going to be hitting our high soon, the equivalent to what the high was this last year at 1885.75. We're going to be hitting that soon, and that was in October. Now down here is where I've started tracking on a daily basis. Here's what it did this week. It went up, and then down, and then up, and then down. So what it does, it doesn't go straight up. It'll go up a day or two, and then go down for a day or two, and then it starts back up. So in the last week, it's gone up 3.25. In the last 2 weeks, it's gone up 6.25. In the last 3 weeks, it's gone up 13.75. And in the last 4 weeks, it's gone up 16.5. So this is not good at all. So we'll leave that. And now we'll go to cams. I have Sunday, March the 8th pulled up, the Arctic view and surface level. And I am so tired, and I am just not feeling well. There's our color ledger. Here's where it left off on Saturday with this very high release over here in the Latev Sea in the Arctic Ocean, coming off of Severnaya Zemlya and up here in the Kara Sea, and then lighter releases in the Arctic coming from the Chukchi Sea across. You can see these lighter colors of green. That's methane release, and then the yellow green, the chartreuse color, that's methane release, and also off the coast of Alaska. So let's run this movie. So the data is for today, and the forecast period goes through Thursday of next week. So this release is increasing and moving out from Severnaya Zemlya, as we can see, and this is quite disturbing, because this has been going on since January. It hasn't stopped. Continuously it's been going on. We're seeing high releases return over here in Siberia. This is near Norilsk. And this show today, this is my daily show for my Subscribe Star members, and I'm going to have it serve as my weekly update for my YouTube members, YouTube viewers. Because it's just too draining on me to try and record 2 shows. Now let's move down to the North Pole view. We're seeing the United States is really blossoming with the methane, especially into the forecast period. Here's the Persian Gulf. Here's Europe. It's coming back, being hit with methane. Here's India. It's actually not looking as bad as it had been. It had been being totally covered up, but it's kind of going down a little bit, it looks like. But we've got a lot in the Indian Ocean. We still have a lot from China. It actually looks like it's decreasing, except for when it balloons out. See how it balloons out over the coastline there? That's on, I think it's Tuesday. Watch it balloon out on Tuesday. I don't know why they're anticipating it doing that on Tuesday in this model, but that's just what they're saying. Now we'll take a peek at the global view. Now let's look at 500 HPA. This would correlate with what we saw on on NOAA. This looks awful. You see this dark cloud up here. And moving out. And see, it's all covered. The whole Arctic is covered. There's not a little empty spot. So that's about halfway up in the atmosphere. Now let's look at total column. And we can see the increase here over China. It's into the black, dark brownish, and then the red. So there's that. Now let's move on to our sulfur dioxide. Here's the global view from today. The thing I'm most interested in is over here in the Aleutian Islands in Alaska. And we saw a huge release over here yesterday. And we normally, when we see these releases that go way up to the 500 HPA, it's going to be some kind of earthquake activity. And I've been showing the correlation of the earthquakes with the sulfur dioxide on my daily shows over on Subscribestar. We also have a release here in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, and we've had some earthquakes coming down the tectonic plate line coming down here. We've had some today. Here's the Eurasia view, and this is China over here. Here's the Pacific view, where we can get a better look at here in the Aleutian Islands, and we see this, the highest part is this red line here. Then there's more releases here and also up in Canada, and some of this is left over from releases that have been going off for the last couple of days. We've also had some releases over on the western part of the United States on March the 4th. That was our last one. Very high release over here. Now here this is this Pacific view at 500 HPA, and when it gathers in the atmosphere like this, it's some kind of sudden release, and I'm thinking it could be a combo plate of some volcanoes and earthquakes going off of here, but it's very, very sudden, and it's a lot, and it zips right up to 500 HPA. And then this is in Canada, in this Northwest Territory. This is from Popocatépetl. Here's the North Pole view. It's a lot of sulfur dioxide, and that could be cooling the planet, acting as a coolant, because we're seeing releases, large releases, almost every day now. And here's the North Pole view at 500 HPA. Here's that area from Alaska and the Aleutian Islands again. We can see the Canada release a little better here. And here's the South Pole view. Here are, I took this picture this morning when there had been 3 earthquakes in the North Atlantic in the last 24 hours. There was one off the coast of Morocco. They actually called it off the coast of Portugal, that I had predicted because if I saw a bunch of sulfur dioxide coming up here. Then we had one right here on the Mid-Atlantic Ridge of 4.9, and then a 4.9 up here on the Reanalyzer Ridge, just southeast of Greenland. And since then, there's been another one on the red line further south. And I'm tracking these earthquakes in Southern California in the Searles Valley Ridgecrest area, and today there were 39. And yesterday there were, I can't remember, 64. So when the pressure's building, we have more earthquakes. And then we're back to Climate Reanalyzer. So now let's take a peek at our earthquakes. So what we have left on the map here in this Atlantic Ocean, this one off the coast of Portugal has come off the map. We still have these two, but we have a large one, this 5.0, at the central mid-Atlantic ridge that came in at 3:49 this afternoon. We also have one in South Atlantic, 4.9. So we're seeing plate movement. When we see sulfur dioxide come up in large amounts, which is what we've been seeing over here and over here and over here, we're definitely seeing plate movement, and then the earthquakes go along with it. Now look here in the Aleutian Islands, we're having some activity. That's a 3.1 at Atka. But that was so much sulfur dioxide, it's going to be a lot more activity here than what we're seeing. And when was it? Yesterday or day before, we saw like 58 earthquakes over here with the large sulfur dioxide release. There was the largest earthquake was a 4 point something, but it had swarmed, and so it had released a whole bunch of sulfur dioxide. Now the place up in Canada where we're seeing the other sulfur dioxide releases right up here, and I think this is near Fort McPherson, where we've seen earthquakes before. It's up in the Yukon in Northwest Territories. So we're going to be looking for an earthquake up here in the next day or so, maybe a couple of days. We're still seeing activity here on the Cascadia subduction zone. This is today, this is the last 24 hours, and so on. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these. We can see we've got activity all around, all on these tectonic plate lines. Although down here at Tonga it's kind of swarming. We've had down here in the Solomon Islands, there have been 8 here in the last 24 hours. Here's a really deep one, this 4.4 near Nidoi Island, Fiji. This was 584 kilometers deep. And the deep ones will cause movement across the planet of tectonic plates. Here's another deep one, another 4.4 near there. Now that first one was last night. This one was at 6:06 this morning, 560 kilometers deep. And then another 4.4 right on top of that at 6:16, so 10 minutes later, 538 kilometers deep. Then a 4.5 here on land in New Zealand on the North Island. This came in at 6:56 this morning. See, right there. And that was 211 kilometers deep. Then another deep one, 4.5 south of Fiji Islands at 9:29 this morning, 544 kilometers deep. And then a 4.6 at Vanuatu. So all of this could be causing the plate to move across the Pacific. Could that be causing the release of that sulfur dioxide pocket that we saw? I don't know. It could be. But I still anticipate some earthquakes up here. Right up here. So we got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of activity. If you've not gotten right with God and Jesus, I highly recommend it before time runs out. And so God bless you and go in peace, and I will talk to you soon.